Hello, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about Islam versus Iran, the battle for Iranian identity. Let me know how my audio is in the live chat. I'm just going to first let you know that the title originally was supposed to be Iran versus Islam versus Iran, the battle for the Persian identity. Um, However, we we changed it because that would be racist. Because I am apparently still exposed to this whole I I just looked this up before the show and I was kind of shocked, right? What percentage of Iran do you think is Persian? It's I looked it up and it's like only 54%. Like only half of Iran is Persian. So this whole using Persian and Iranian interchangeably is completely ignoring half of Iran and just making it seem like Iranians are Persian by default, and it's basically racist. Like it's ignoring the Kurds, it's ignoring the Iranian Arabs, it's ignoring the Iranian Turks and the Turkmens and the Lurs and so many, and the Baluchis and so many Bakhtiaris, so many other groups as well. So you just have to be mindful of that, not to use Persian and Iranian interchangeably, right? I almost did that for the title of this show. Anyways, so let me show you this on the screen. And for the people who are only listening to the audio, I'm going to try to describe everything as much as possible. But you get the full experience if you're a patron and actually watch the video version of this. So link is in the description. So you could watch. It would be easier if you guys saw all of this, but I'll try to describe everything. So it's okay. All right. So this is the end of the video. But let me go to the 6-minute mark. I think that's the best place to start for me to explain everything. Okay. So Susanna is saying in the live chat that the audio is good. All right. So let's start with this mullah here. Okay. This guy is going to explain to us, because a lot of people don't understand the different identity groups that, the battle of identities that exists within Iran. And this mullah is going to give us a summary of what the issue is. So here, let's go. Let me know if you have audio of the mullah.
مردم ایران هستند در کمال وقاحت و بیشرمی گاو و خر بنامند.
But that's not okay. Here. Wait, this is double speed. Wait, Susanna is in the live chat. Susanna is saying, I guessed 40% in Persian. Okay, 40%. How do you you're just trying to show that you know better than me, Susanna. I'm just gonna ban you right now. Persian, because I anticipated that my base assumption is an overestimation. Okay. That's fair. Okay, when I lived in Iran, I thought like 90% of Iran is Persian. Then I realized okay, that's just. But when I left Iran, I realized okay, that's not true. So I guess maybe 80%, maybe minimum 70%. But now I realize that only half of Iran is Persian. Anyways, let's listen to this mullah and I will translate what he has to say.
و امروزه نه تنها یک بدعت است و
he's saying the Nowruz, like the Persian New Year. So the battle between being Iranian or being Muslim, okay, starts every year at Nowruz, okay? So this guy is talking. Nowruz is basically the Persian New Year, and we just had the Persian New Year and all the celebrations and the different festivities around it. This guy specifically is now talking about Nowruz, and he's saying that it was a bit. It's an innovation.
امروزه نه تنها به عنوان عید بلکه به عنوان یک عیدی که مورد امضای اسلام است. امروز مطلب قطعاً این مسئله خلاف است.
He's saying that not only Eid Nowruz, which is the Persian New Year, not only that's wrong, that it's even more wrong that some people think that this is an Eid that Islam approves of celebrating.
و نوروز عید زرتشتی هاست.
It's like Nowruz is the Eid of Zoroastrians, not Muslims.
و اسلام به طور جد با این مسئله مخالفت کرده.
And Islam is directly against this practice.
دین ما عید قدیر را عید می‌داند.
Like our religion celebrates Eid al-Qadir, which is like a Islamic Eid.
عید فطر و عید قربان را عید.
Eid al-Fitr, Eid al-Qurban. He's basically listing the Eids that are approved under Islam. So Eid al-Nuruz, which is a Persian New Year, which is a Zoroastrian New Year, he's like, that's against Islam. Here's a list of Eids that we have under Islam. These are the Eids that we need to be celebrating.
میداند عید مبعث را عید میداند.
He's going through the list.
عیدی که جنبه عقلانی داشته باشه.
He's saying these Eids, these are the Islamic ones. They're logical, right? They're rational. The Eid al-Nuruz, which is Persian New Year, it's irrational.
علف از توی زمین در میاد برای من که عید نیست، برای اون گاو و خر عید است که.
Oh my God. Okay, so he's saying when grass grows. So I don't know if you guys know, but the Persian New Year, they have this thing called the Hafsin as a way to celebrate the New Year. Everybody puts this as a decoration. Let me show you on screen what it looks like, right? So for people who can't see the images, right? So this is how you decorate. Hafsin means 7 sins. Or sin in Persian is like the letter of the alphabet, which is kind of like S in English. So hafsin means like 7 S's, right? Basically, you have 7 things that start with S, with the sound S, and you put it as a decoration on your table, and it looks really beautiful. It looks like this, right? You can see like there's a seeb, which is apple. You have sabzi, which is like this grass. You have seer, which is garlic. So they all start with S. I don't know why they have colored eggs every year as well. That seems like kind of like Easter, but they have colored. Oh yeah, Easter colored eggs are supposed to celebrate like fertility and New Year and spring, and so that's why the colored eggs are. You see that in Easter, but you also see that in Persian New Year. Okay, so the main highlight, the biggest thing on the Hafsin is this grassy thing. Okay, this grass, this which starts with S as well, because sabzi, right? By the way, if you notice on this Hafsin decoration, instead of a Quran, they have a Hafiz book, right? So people who are not religious, or people who are anti-religious or anti-Islam, instead of putting a Quran on their Hafsin decoration, they either put a Hafiz book, which is a very famous Iranian poet, or if you want to go uber nationalist, you put a Ferdowsi Shahnameh, which is another Persian poet, right? So, and you put that instead of the Quran, right? You can see there's an absence of Quran here, which is very interesting. I didn't expect that. My uncle, for example, doesn't put a Quran. He puts a Ferdowsi Shahnameh. Anyway, so this grass, which is the main highlight, this mullah right now is saying grass growing out of the ground is irrational for that to be an Eid for me. That would be an Eid for cows and goats. Like, what am I, a cow? Why would it be Eid for me if grass is growing out of the ground? Okay, I'm not a cow. I'm not a goat. So he's basically calling the Iranians who celebrate Nowruz, they're like, you are all so excited with grass. You must be a cow, not a human. Okay, so he's like basically trying to insult them. And he's like, I'm not a cow, so this makes no rational sense for me to celebrate Eid al-Nowruz. Susanna is laughing. Susanna is asking, is it mostly the critics that are majority Persian? You're a city boy after all. Oh no, cities. Is it mostly the cities that are majority Persian? No, like it depends on which city. Like Tehran is majority Persian, but I guess like Ahvaz is not majority Persian, and like there's a lot of cities in the Kurdish areas of Iran that is not majority Persian. There's in the province Sistan Baluchistan, the cities are not majority Persian, right? What does the Nowruz mirror represent? Oh yeah, there's also always a mirror. I don't know. Every single one of things is a symbol of one thing. I don't know what they're saying. Like the apple is a symbol of something. The sabzi, the grass is a symbol of something. The garlic is a symbol of something. I don't know. The mirror is a symbol of something. I don't know what they're a symbol of. I've never bothered. You could just make stuff up. It's fine. Yeah.
باید بهتر بچره و بهتر از این زمین استفاده بکنه. بنده که علف خار نیستم.
Like I'm not a plant eater. I'm not a grass eater. So why would I be happy?
که بخوام خوشحال بشم.
آخوندها در طول تاریخ به خصوص پس از به قدرت رسیدن در ایران به شکل بسیار جدی تلاش کردند
He's the speaker of this video for this, the narrative for this video is saying that mullahs throughout history, especially after they came into power in 1979, have been very seriously trying to get rid of Nowruz.
عید فطر و عید قدیر را جایگزین عید
To use Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Qadir, which is two main Islamic Eids, to replace that and make that more important than Eid al-Nuruz. They have been trying that for a very long time.
نوروز کنند و اگر هر سال رهبر جمهوری اسلامی
So then I'm saying you just lost Iranian street cred, Armin. Okay, I bet you most Iranians don't know what they represent. Okay, I don't care.
و رئیس جمهور نظام در مقابل دوربین حاضر
All right, so this Eid, when Khamenei gave his speech, well, I mean, Khamenei usually doesn't have a Hafsin. So for every New Year, the supreme leader and the president will give a speech for New Year's, right? So the supreme leader doesn't put a Hafsin decoration next to him, which shows how much they don't like it's very bizarre that they don't have that, right? Like you're the supreme leader of a country, that this is the new year, and during your speech you don't put like a half scene to talk to people, right? So people know that this is an obvious sign that they don't think that this is okay, and they think like even the speech by the new year, I think like they probably wouldn't want to make Nowruz a bigger deal by giving a New Year speech, but they have to because they know that this is very significant for the Iranian people. But even though the supreme leader usually doesn't have a half scene right next to him, what is true is that the president usually has, but this year the president also didn't have much of a half scene next to him.
میشوند و تبریک نوروز میگویند، به نظر میرسد با اکراه و از سر
Look, this year's presidential address, New Year address to the public. He had a Quran, and he had the grass thingy, the sabzi, whatever. But that's it. Like it wasn't a full half scene. It was just the grassy stuff. I don't know what the English version of this is.
ناچاری است.
لباس نو میخواید
به نظر میرسد با اکراه
even under here saying Ibrahim Raisi in his first New Year address to the nation did not have his half scene decoration. So this is like unprecedented, I guess, because every year the president would have a half scene decoration when they're addressing the people.
و از سر ناچاری است.
لباس نو میخوای بخری برای
So here's another mullah talking, and he's saying, if you want to buy new clothes for Nowruz,
زن و بچت بذار روز قدیر بخری.
no, if you want to buy new clothes, don't buy it for Nowruz, buy it for Eid al-Qadir, like the Qadir Eid.
روز نوروز عید عجم است.
He's like, Nowruz Eid is the Eid for the Ajam. Ajam means non-Arab. I don't know why he's saying that. Well, you're an Ajam. He's like, why would you buy? I don't understand his logic here. Somebody like needs to explain this to me, because he's saying like, why would you buy new clothes at Nowruz? This is the Eid for the Ajam. Ajam, it was like a derogatory term towards Persians, towards non-Arabs. Well, dude, like you're an Ajam. I don't understand why you're saying that. Like that's what you are. I don't know. Like, why would you do that? That's the Eid for the Ajam. Like, okay, well, that's us. And like, okay, so
زن و بچت بذار روز قدیر بخر. روز نوروز عید عجم است، اما روز قدیر عید خاتم الانبیا.
like, but however, the day of Ghadar, like the Eid al-Ghadar, is the Eid for the seal of the prophets.
عید همه ملائکه خدا.
It's the aid of all the angels of God, of Allah.
عید تمام ائمه اطهار است، بلکه عید الله الاکبر است. لذا بچه‌ها با اومدن قدیر خوشحال بشن.
Like he's saying, let your kids be happy about the coming of Eid al-Qadir. Like, don't train them to be happy about Nowruz. Train them to like buy them gifts at Eid al-Qadir so that they're happy. So they associate that with celebrations.
تو چرخه میخوای براش بخری
Like if you want to buy him a bike, just wait for Eid al-Ghadir.
بگو انشالله روز قدیر برات بخری.
Don't like on Eid al-Nowruz, for example, tell your kids like, okay, we'll wait for Eid al-Ghadir for me to buy you the bike.
سفر میخوای ببری او رو
If you want to go on a vacation, tell your family that you're going to go on Eid al-Ghadir, not like Nowruz.
بگو انشالله قدیر میبرمت نجف.
مردم اما
Look, Likki, this is another half scenes, a casual half scenes. Oh, you also put Shirini sweets there.
امسال با وجود تورم و گرانی
Oh, look at this. Okay, so this is a very simple half scene sofri. This is serke, which means vinegar. Serke starts with sin, with se. There's a coin. Coin is seke in Persian. So seke also starts with the S sound. Yeah, there's multiple sekes.
های کمرشکن
Like she's saying, the narrator is saying this year, even though people can't afford to celebrate Eid al-Nowruz like previous years, they still insist on celebrating it.
پاسخ دندان شکنی به آخوندهای
Like she's saying, like they basically the people responded, like all these demands by the mullahs not to celebrate Eid al-Nowruz, the people responded by still going out of their way to celebrate it, even though like the demand by the government is to not celebrate it.
حاکم بر ایران
Yeah, Susanna is saying, but Shia holidays aren't happy and colorful like Nowruz, not too appealing to kids. Yeah, Shia holidays is the contrast is so obvious and so significant, right? Shia holidays are about, you know, they're about crying and hitting yourself and black, everything in black, you're mourning, you know, and it's blood. It's about blood is everywhere. You're slaughtering animals, and you're, you know, there's the is black and red. You know, it's just you just sea of black and with a mix of red from blood, and you're supposed to cry. And the harder you cry, the bit closer you are to God, right? And they want to replace you. That's what they want. They want to replace Nowruz with that. But Nowruz is about dancing, it's about music, it's about colors, it's about being festive, it's about all the, you know, the pretty things, and it's about, like, you know, as you have to, it's about sweets, it's about going and visiting your loved ones, it was about gift giving and gift taking. So that's what Nowruz is about. So like they're like, why do people like Nowruz more? Like I don't get it. Like this is Islamic and this is like pagan. Why do people prefer these pagan festives, right? Well, I mean, isn't it obvious why they prefer it? Like, yeah, it's like if you put them next to like the festivities of like Shias and you put it right next to Nowruz, like you have pictures, you would think like this is an exaggeration of somebody that wants to make it seem like one of them is good and one of them is evil. But it's not an exaggeration. It's the actual depiction of the difference, right? Like you would think like, okay, this must be propaganda. Like it looks like a movie. Like you're like, oh, these are the dark. This is the side of darkness and evil, and this is the side of life and celebration and festivities and good and everything that is wholesome. Like, okay, this seems like too cartoonishly black and white. Okay, but it's actual. Like, just go and search for, I don't know, Shiism and then Nowruz or Shia festivals or Shia Ashura, for example. Just go search for that, look in Google Images, and then search for Nowruz and look at Google Images and just look at the contrast.
دادند و نوروز را نه فقط با
Look,
سفره
they have color. Okay, so this is also, you could see on the half sin, you could also see there's garlic, which is seer in Persian, which starts with sin, but this one doesn't start the colored eggs. It's very interesting to me how Easter has colored eggs and Nowruz also has colored eggs. I don't know if they are connected to each other, or is it just independently people have decided that spring and the like life needs to be celebrated with symbols of fertility, and eggs represent fertility. Like, is that like people have people independently come to that conclusion, or is that or are they somehow connected?
هفت سین، دید و بازدید و مسافرت، بلکه با رقصیدن در کوی و برزن گرامی داشتند.
Wait, so like she's saying, the narrative saying this is how people responded to the mullahs. D in the live chat is asking, are there bunnies? No, there are no bunnies. They're just eggs. They didn't come to the, I don't, for some reason, they didn't come to the same conclusions that bunnies could lay eggs. Oh, so this footage. Okay, so guys, this is very funny. Okay, so guys, again, if you're listening to the audio version of this, you need to become a patron because this is very interesting. Okay, but I'll try to describe it. Okay, so when you get around Nowruz time in Iran, there are certain people that come into the street and play music and start dancing Nowruz dances, right? And this is one of those guys that put silly clothes on, right? So this is one of those guys, right? And then while he's singing and dancing for Nowruz, a mullah is about to pass him, and look what he does, okay? All right, so I don't know, for people who didn't see what just happened, so he's dancing like a very Persian dance and with like songs and celebrating the coming of the new year, and the mullah is just passing by him, and he starts like dancing in front of him, getting very close to him, dancing, close to him, and the mullah gets, because he's like trying to tease him, like, oh, okay, look at this, like because like the mullahs represent like people who are just anti-fun, more restrictions, not dancing, less music, all of that stuff, right? So he's like dancing in his face, and the mullah like gets so frustrated, and he raises his cane, like trying to like hit him, right? Like, I don't know, like intimidate, like, I don't know, not trying to, but like saying, like, get out of my way or I'll hit you. But just like, oh yeah, dances aggressive. Susanna's like, dances aggressively. I don't know if I'm describing this very well, but yeah, there's one more time. This the mullah just raised his cane about to hit him. That was pretty intense, okay? But now the person who's recording the footage just started laughing. Oh, look, people! Look at other people are laughing as well. Look, this is the attitude. Look at these girls. Like, they're laughing at the frustration of the mullah, right? Oh, this guy is laughing. These two girls are laughing. My God, this girl has let her hijab down fully. Look at this. Like, this is like more and more people are just like letting their hijab fall. Look at her. Her hijab. Where is this? Is this in Tehran? Like, everybody's laughing, right? But this is like, if this is might be in Tehran or somewhere. But look how less strict things are compared to where I was. Like, she has her hijab around her neck. She's not even covering her hair at all. Amazing. All right, so this is just people dancing. So this is basically the response of the people to the mullahs demanding to, trying to ban the dancing and just asking people to cool it down. Like, people are responding like, nope. Footage of people dancing. Look at this. Okay, Susanna, I think you might have noticed. Okay, so Susanna's question is being answered here. The song just said Habibi. This is Arabic song, okay? And this right at the bottom right says Raqs Nowruzi, which means like dancing for the new year. And the city is Ahvaz, Khiyaban Symmetry, okay? So you can see that in Ahvaz, which is more Arabic in Iran, Arabic city in Iran, people, yes, Zainab Lecture saying Habibi, yes, exactly. So see, Arabs in Iran are celebrating Iranian New Year, not Persian New Year, because if it's Persian New Year, then we're taking the New Year, Iranian New Year, away from Arabs, right? We shouldn't say Persian New Year. We should say Iran's New Year, or like not just Iran, because like other countries have that as well. Okay, it's just a Nowruz. It's not for Persians. It's for anybody who wants it. Okay, because these are Arabs and they're dancing to Arabic song for Nowruz. And again, so Susanna was asking, like, is this mostly the cities that are Persian? No, this is Ahvaz. Ahvaz is a major city in Iran, and it's in the Arabic part of Iran, right? No, D is saying, I love these streams. Oh, thank you, D. All right. So, like, yeah, you can hear the Habibi in the song. Hold on.
لحظه تحویل سال را هم مردم امسال در مکانهای تاریخی گرد آمدند. حضور 40,000 نفر
Oh, like this year, people gathered around in famous places to celebrate the New Year's. Like apparently, like how many people?
در امسال در مکانهای تاریخی گرد آمدند. حضور 40,000 نفری در حافظیه شیراز.
Okay, she's claiming, I don't know if this is true. She's claiming 40,000 people showed up in Shiraz city by the tomb of Hafiz. Hafiz, like I mentioned, is one of the most famous Persian poets, right? For New Year's, look at the crowd, okay? So apparently around 40, again, I don't know if the numbers are accurate or not, but this is tomb of Hafiz, and for New Year's, 40,000 people showed up to celebrate that. So like these are the people who, instead of like maybe gathering at like shrines to Shia imams, they would rather go to celebrate at the tombs of Iranian poets rather than the religious figures and stuff like that. Basically there's a competition between who celebrates their identity more. What do Iranians relate to it more? Do they prefer to go to an Imamzadeh shrine, which is like Islamic, the Shia Islamic thing to do, or are there more people interested in, I don't know, Ferdowsi or Hafiz or Takht Jamshid, which is traditionally Iranian symbols rather than Islamic symbols, right? So this video is obviously like an anti-regime on an anti-regime channel, which is called a Kuche channel, but with credit to Kuche channel for getting all this. They're like trying to say like, look how this is what Iranian people want. They're celebrating Iranian traditional things. Oh, hey, music guy.
تخت جمشید و پاسارگاد.
Okay, so like on Pasargad, on Takht Jamshid, and Hafiz's tomb, these are like very, very Persian things rather than Islamic things, and people are showing up to these places to celebrate the Nowruz. But look at, so this is the countdown to the Iranian New Year. Oh, this is in Takht Jamshid. Okay, so this is Takht Jamshid is Persepolis, right? This is where, you know, the ancient kings of Iran from the Achaemenid Empire lived, right? And you can't get more Persian than Takht Jamshid, which is the Persian for Persepolis. But the people showed up here to do the countdown for the New Year.
جمشید و پاسارگاد.
Look at this. Yeah, this is the countdown to the New Year. So this is Takht Jamshid. Look at so many people showed up here. Like there are people who say that after the Islamic Revolution in 1979, there are some mullahs that were trying to bulldoze Takht Jamshid because of its representation of monarchy and kings and anything non-Islamic. So look at this. This is the Iranians showing up at the tomb of Cyrus to celebrate the New Year. Look at this. Wait, is that the actual tomb of Cyrus, or is that a mock-up? Because I can't believe they actually let it open. Look at the crowd.
این حضور در اماکن
Oh
تاریخی
yeah,
در
it's the actual tomb, isn't it? Wow. Okay.
حالی است که آخوندهای سرشناس حکومتی بارها گفتند فقط نوروز، آن هم به دلایل مذهبی، اندکی مورد پذیرش آنهاست و بقیه مراسم
So you know, to appease the people, mullahs have said like just celebrate only Nowruz, but not the surrounding days of Nowruz, but like don't dance, don't like celebrate, like, well, let's see actually.
و اماکن را باید کاملا حذف کرد آنهاست و بقیه مراسم و اماکن
But yeah, just maybe like some mullahs have said, okay, fine, celebrate just the Nowruz, just on the day of Nowruz, but don't do celebrations in these other places and don't celebrate on other days around the Nowruz.
را باید
Particularly
کاملا
limited.
حذف کرد.
So this mullah, so another mullah, which is a marja apparently, he's saying that we are Muslim before we are Iranian, right? So he's saying our as Muslim identity is more important than our Iranian identity. D is saying, was Nowruz a spring harvest thing before Persian New Year? I mean, spring harvest thing is the Persian New Year. But again, I'm trying not to say Persian New Year because it's also the Kurdish New Year, and it's also every Iranian's New Year, and also it's the Tajik's New Year and Afghani's New Year, right? So I'm trying to avoid using the term Persian New Year, right? To not make this as a Persian thing, right? I mean, you're gonna see some celebration by Kurds of New Year's. I mean, Kurds go out of the Kurds do all out Nowruz celebrations, right? So it's not a Persian thing, right? But yeah, I mean, to be honest, guys, when I was in, it made no sense to me that other people's New Year's when I was in Iran was at winter, right? Because spring is when nature seems to be coming back to life, right? It just seems like it made so much sense to me that New Year was like when things come alive. I was like, I always wondered as a kid, why do these foreigners think the New Year is when everything starts dying? Like at winter, like what? So I mean, it just makes sense to have the New Year where, yeah, when flowers are blooming, that's when it seems like the nature is screaming celebration, so that's when we should celebrate the New Year, right? So he's saying we are Muslim before we are Iranian, we are Muslim before we are we are fans of Cyrus. He's like before Charshamba Suri, which is like a one of the festivities around Nowruz, before Nowruz. It's like before that we are Muslim. Like Sizda Bedar is another festivity around the Nowruz. It's like before that we are Muslim.
ایرانی بودن ما به این است که ما عید نوروز از اون جهت گرامی می‌داریم که اهل بیت فرمودن روزی که ولی عصر ظهور می‌کند مطابق با نوروز است.
He's saying that the only reason why we celebrate Nowruz is because we were told that Nowruz is also the day that Imam Mehdi is coming back. Okay, I don't know if this is true. Okay, so he's saying that's the only reason why Nowruz is worth any form of celebration. All right, so even it's not because if it's an Iranian holiday or whatever or anything, even the amount of respect that it deserves is he's saying it's because of its association with something Islamic. However, I suspect, and I have no idea if this is true, I'm just guessing, that this is something that they came up with to have an excuse for appeasing the Iranian people. You know what I mean? The Iranian mullahs, to basically like, I think they just made this up, that Mehdi is come back in Nowruz, to have some justification for not being completely against it, right? Because Nowruz is completely pagan, is Zoroastrian, is like a celebration that is pre-Islamic and is nothing to do with Islam. So it's bizarre by a whole bunch of other Muslims who are not Iranian, Shia Muslims who are not Iranian, or other Muslims or Sunni, for if you guys are like an Islamic country, why would you allow pagan practices? So my guess is that they had to make up this connection with the coming back of the Mehdi, just so that they have an excuse for, okay, this is the reason why we're celebrating it. Yeah, Dia saying, oh geez, apocalyptic crap. Yes, exactly.
ما احترام میکنیم. به ما فرمودن از اون جهت که مستحب است شما بدنتون رو پاک کنید، جامعه پاک در بر کنید، صله رحم.
So some of the things that you're supposed to do in New Year's Nowruz celebration is that you're supposed to do house cleaning and cleaning up yourself and being presentable and stuff like that. He's saying like, okay, one reason why we might be okay with something in Nowruz is because in Islam we'd like house cleaning and cleaning your body. So for those reasons, we're not completely we're allowing some of these practices just because we're good with that. However,
بکنید ما از اون جهت اطاعت میکنیم اما دیگه
like for that reason we allow some of these practices. However,
چهارشنبه سوری که نگفتن
he's like, however, Charshamba Suri sees that, but that these are some of the festives around Nowruz. He's like, those are not excusable. Like these, like just because we respect Nowruz because of the coming back of Mehdi, just because we respect house cleaning, just we respect your cleaning your body, we respect these things, but we don't respect these this festive behavior. Like these are not these traditions. They have to be completely removed.
که نگفتن تخت جمشیدی که نگفتن
کردهای
Okay, so now this is the Kurds. So the Kurds have their own specific ways of celebrating Nowruz. One thing they do is they take their cars and their family and there are a lot of food, and they go into the mountains and they start in the mountains. They start playing music, and everybody starts a lot of people start dancing, and they usually light a huge fire. Okay. Bigger than other people. Okay, so that's what they do. So you can see a little bit of that.
ایران هم در برگزاری مراسم نوروز
So like the narrator is saying, like, yeah, look, the Kurds are also, this is how the Kurds are also responding to all these demands by the mullahs to forget Nowruz festives. Like they're like, the people have spoken, but this is their response.
تمام گذاشتند. آنها که از چند روز مانده به بهار تا چند روز پس از فرارسیدن آن به کوه و صحرا می روند و با افروختن آتش نوروز را گرامی می دارند، امسال با تهدیدهای جدی حکومت مواجه شدند.
Like this year, she's saying this year, they do these celebrations every year, but this year they were threatened by the government to not do this year.
سردار پاشایی ورزشکار کرد با انتشار فیلم‌هایی از برگزاری نوروز در کردستان ایران نوشت
Okay, so apparently the intelligence agency in Iran had ordered the people in Kurdistan, the Kurdistan province in Iran. Okay, so this is the exact order. Not to do what is it called? Unethical things and un-Islamic things, including dancing and paikubi, which is like also dancing, I guess. The mixing of genders, so women and men being mixed together, playing of degenerate music. Is that like, so music, basically any music that is not Islamic. And it's like, and so basically the intelligence agency had ordered the Kurds to make sure that this year there's nothing unethical or un-Islamic, including dancing and the mixing of genders and music, and also for them to make sure that use symbols of the Islamic Republic if they are gathering, right? And so this is a tweet that is showing the order coming from the intelligence agency, and right under the order it says, and this is how the Kurds responded. So you could see right under there's a picture of people, of so many Kurds just getting together, and there's dancing, and so they ignored the order from the intelligence agency. Yeah, D is saying this is footage from the Kurd region. Yes, this is footage from the Kurd region. Yeah, Susanna saying they can't stop those what? Those bopping Kurdish dancing shoulders. Yes, they can. This is too powerful. It's too powerful for the Islamic Republic. Okay, let's watch this.
وزارت اطلاعات دستور داده بود که در کردستان برای مراسم نوروز از مسائل ضد اخلاقی و خلاف شرع از جمله رقص و پایکوبی مختلط زنان و مردان جلوگیری شود. آهنگ‌های مبتذل استفاده نشود و به جای آن نمادهای
So آهنگ‌های مبتذل means like low value cheap music. Don't play cheap music. This is coming from the intelligence ministry of Iran, asking the Kurds not to play cringy music. And by cringy, they mean like unethical, which means like anything that is like pop culture or stuff like that.
جمهوری اسلامی همچون پرچم به کار گرفته شود. کردها نیز این گونه پاسخ دادند. اشاره سردار پاشایی به مراسمی است که علیرغم
So look, the women, okay, there's mixing of genders, women are dancing with men. So basically they said F you to the government.
تخریب و فشار حکومت در جای کردستان
Look
و
at that.
ایران برگزار
Look, everyone's
شد
having fun.
تا نمایشی بزرگ باشد از
Guys, like you have to, the government has to know that they're the evil ones. Like people are having fun. Look at this. Look at the Kurds just getting together and enjoying their time, celebrating Nowruz. People are wearing colorful clothes. There's music. There's fire, and everyone's having fun. The government is like, that's bad. They must, like, can they not tell that they're on the wrong side of this?
پیروزی مردم و شکست حکومت.
So the narrator is saying that this is a sign of the victory of the people and the defeat of the government. So I think, I don't know, maybe the narrator is exaggerating a little bit, but that's what she's saying. So this is Kurdish. Wow, look at this, guys. Look at this. They're not even wearing a hijab. How is this happening? Wait, where is this? Where is that? Hey, this is Marijuana. This is in Iran. Look at these ladies with all the long hair, just all, like, I don't even see, like, some of them are wearing head coverings. Like, this is completely illegal. They're like, there's just too many of them, I guess, for anybody to come arrest all of them. I mean, I know there was attacks on the crowd. Like, there's another video that I'm not showing today, but there were attacks on celebrations like this year by the IRGC. But look how bold they're becoming. Like, these Kurdish women, they're just showing, look how long her hair is. Oh my God, that's nice. Look at it, they're showing it. They just have okay, so like this woman has a head covering, but she doesn't. Like, wait, it seems like most of them don't. This is completely illegal in Iran. D saying, I see her, and Secular Proton is saying, wow. Look, okay, so she's wearing a hijab. She's like wearing half a hijab. She has completely let it off. I think it's just, there's just too many of them for anybody to do anything about it. Everyone's dancing, having a good time. Look at the, Jesus, look at this. Look at the crowd, guys. Seriously, you should be on this Patreon only streams to see what I'm looking at. Okay, the crowd is massive. This is the entire Kurdish area. I mean, these are Kurdish people celebrating, and you can see that in the middle of the crowd they have a giant fire. Look at that. Look at the colors. Here's more celebrations. These are Kurdish songs, I guess. And you can see the outfits are also different. I don't know what this is, guys. I'm not familiar, with how Kurds celebrate Nowruz. These are like new to me, like, even though it's happening all around me. But so they're holding. Oh, there's a man and a woman. They're bringing torches of fire to light up this huge ass pile of wood. And they're holding flowers. And they're all setting fire to the pile. All right, let's go to the...
محمود شهریاری در سخنان خود
So, Susanna saying, I freaking love Kurdish music. Music guy saying, Kurds know how to have fun. They saying, I have sympathy for Kurds. They have been treated awful everywhere. Iran, Syria, Iraq, and Turkey. Yes. Secular Puritan is saying very beautiful music. Okay, that's good.
به
So,
تلاش استالین برای حذف
so now the narrator is comparing these mullahs to Stalin, because Stalin also tried to cancel Nowruz.
نوروز اشاره می کند. این روزنامه فرقه پیشوری در تاریخ 1 فروردین 1325 است.
So when when the Azerbaijan, I don't know, when Stalin was controlling certain parts, of Azerbaijan. This is part of Iranian history before the mullahs came into power, right? But there are certain areas that were under the Soviet Union, which also had Nowruz celebrations, and Stalin apparently attempted to ban the Nowruz, and Stalin failed.
به فرمان استالین که نوروز را ممنوع کرده بود، فرقه پیشوری هم قصد داشت نوروز را در آذربایجان ایران ممنوع کند، اما شوق مردم مانع شد. در این روزنامه هم تبریک نوروز گفته شده، اما هیچ اثری از واژه نوروز نیست.
So like they're showing, for example, newspapers of that time in Azerbaijan. I think she's not saying Azerbaijan because maybe she's trying to avoid, this is like many years ago, right? In this newspaper, I think she's not saying Azerbaijan. Did she say Azerbaijan?
آن ممنوع کند. بود فرقه پیشوری هم قصد داشت نوروز را در آذربایجان
Oh
ایران
yeah, she did.
آن ممنوع کند.
So they were trying to, as a way for the communist groups in Iran, in Azerbaijan, as a way to appease Stalin, they were also trying to ban Nowruz at that time in these areas. But people, like, they didn't even mention the name Nowruz, right? But apparently it failed and people came out and celebrated Nowruz anyway.
اما شوق مردم مانع
So
شد.
so basically the narrator is trying to show you that there's historical Nowruz. You know how there's Christians say there's a war on Christmas, right? And that's all BS. But what the narrator is showing you here is that there has been a historic battle against Nowruz by communist and Islamic forces, right? And the narrator is basically trying to show that they all failed and Nowruz is still here and people are still celebrating Nowruz.
در این روزنامه هم تبریک نوروز گفته شده، اما هیچ اثری از واژه نوروز نیست.
Susanna is saying, oh wow, I didn't know the celebration of Nowruz extended that far. Susanna, the celebration of Nowruz extends to like before Christ. Like it's like a couple of 1,000-year-old tradition. It goes back to the time of Cyrus. So yeah, before Christ. Susanna is saying, that's interesting. I thought Stalin was actually sensitive to regional identity, particularly non-Russian languages. Yes and no, I guess, because relatively to people before him, he was, I don't know if he was like, maybe Stalin was more sensitive to what he considered regional identities in Mother Russia. Maybe like these were too foreign. I don't know. Oh, Susanna is saying no, not historically, geographic extension. Well, this is Azerbaijan, so it's part of Iran. Oh, so Azerbaijan, for people who don't know, Azerbaijan is both a name of a country and also a name of a province in Iran. D is saying the communist Islamic link is very interesting. Yeah.
و به بایرام و بهار اکتفا کردند. کاری شبیه تبریک علی خامنه‌ای و ابراهیم رئیسی.
So she's saying like, oh my God. So this lady, the narrator, is comparing the people back then who said Happy New Year without mentioning Nowruz. He's comparing that to Khamenei because Khamenei comes and in his New Year speech, he doesn't mention Nowruz. He just wishes everybody a Happy New Year. So the narrator is comparing Khamenei to Stalin.
کردند. کاری شبیه تبریک علی خامنه‌ای و ابراهیم رئیسی.
And Raisi, to Khamenei and Raisi.
تبریک نوروز بدون سفره 7 سین. نشانه ای از وحشت فوق‌العاده از نوروز و نمادهای آن.
So she's saying this is a sign of these mullahs being so afraid, mullahs and Stalin being so afraid of the symbols of Nowruz and what it represents. Basically, that what they're trying to say is that these Shia mullahs, they're on the side of death and Nowruz celebrates life. And these people are afraid of everything that brings happiness and everything that brings life into people's, it's basically the narrative is light versus darkness. It's really, guys, by the way, it's very easy to spread that narrative that we are on the side of light and these people, these mullahs, are on the side of darkness when everything they celebrate is black. You know what I mean? Like you're making the job of the other side so easy.
اما استالین و دشمنان نوروز در آن زمان
I didn't say Kurdistan is a country. I was talking about Azerbaijan. Secular Protestant saying, did you just say Kurdistan is a country? Interesting. No, I was talking about Azerbaijan.
همه رفتند و
that question is, I will set up that. You could ask that during the Q&A. I'm going to set up the Secular Jihadists Q&A soon. So you can leave that question for the Q&A. You could ask it as a patron.
نوروز ماند. همچنان
So the narrator of this video is saying, but all those people who were fighting against Nowruz, they all are gone. They're all dead. And Nowruz is still here. So just like, people like Stalin are dead and we still have Nowruz, she's like saying, just like that, these people will also go. Khamenei will also go. Raisi will also go. And the Mullah regime will also go. And Nowruz will still stay.
که طالبان در شرق ایران تلاش می‌کنند
Now they're comparing the Khamenei and Raisi. Now she's comparing it to Taliban. So they're going to compare it to Taliban because Taliban is going extra against Nowruz. But it's impossible to do that in Iran to the extent that Taliban is doing that in Afghanistan. But a lot of Iranian people suggest that what Taliban is doing in Afghanistan is a lot of the things that the mullahs in Iran wish they could do, but the Iranian identity is too strong and they can't go that far, right? So a lot of Afghans would like to celebrate Nowruz, but this year Nowruz has been canceled in Afghanistan because of Taliban.
نوروز را از حافظه جمعی مردم
Yeah, and also Suzette is saying, well, it's particularly easy to make that comparison considering the mass murder. Oh, Susanna, also it's particularly easy to make that comparison. Oh, it's also easy to claim that we're on the side of life and they're on the side of death, not because this is an accusation, but because the other side actually admits this. They say that you love life and we love death. Like, this is their narrative. This is not propaganda. They think that this is an insult to us because we're ignoring the afterlife, right? They try to insult us by saying that we love life because they say dunya versus akhirat. Dunya represents this life, akhirat versus the other life. They think that we're so shallow and so naive and so focused on pleasure and happiness in the short term, and we're missing the love of God and we're missing the afterlife. And those who love God would love to be reunited with him, and alayhi raji'un, right? So to go back to God, right? So you want to go back to God. You are eager to go back to God. And that's why you love death. So if you think like we are, exaggerating by saying they're on the side of death, we're on the side of life, remember that they say the same thing, but they think they're insulting us when they say we're on the side of life and they're on the side of death. Yeah, Susanna is saying Team Dunya. Yes, we're Team Dunya.
پاک کنند. آنها تعطیلات نوروز را
So this is a news article saying that Taliban, so it says Taliban تعطیلات نوروز را از تقویم افغانستان حذف کرد. Wow. So Taliban has actually Taliban just removed. Okay, so here's the actual transition. Taliban remove Nowruz holidays from the Afghanistan calendar. So you don't even have it officially in Afghanistan's calendar. There's no Nowruz anymore. So they're not just, it's not like in Iran where they're like, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. They're just removing it entirely from the calendar. That's what the Taliban is doing. Amazing.
حذف کردند و گفتند دیگر افغانستان نوروز را تجلیل نمی کند.
And they also announced that Afghanistan will have no more Nowruz anymore. So this is a Taliban official, and this is what this mullah. Now we're moving from Iran to Afghanistan. So let's see what this Talibani mullah is saying now.
یک مجوسی تحفه بدهد و نیت آن تعظیم نوروز باشد.
Wait, what?
مجوسی تحفه
تجلیل نمی کند.
مسلمان برای یک مجوسی تحفه بدهد و نیت آن تعظیم نوروز باشد، عبادت پنج و نیت آن برای
افغانستان نوروز
Wait,
را تجلیل نمی
the audio is not very good. Just one second.
مسلمان برای یک مجوسی تحفه بدهد و نیت آن تعظیم نوروز باشد.
I think he's saying if you do this for Nowruz, and I don't know what this is, for example, maybe like giving a gift to somebody for Nowruz, and if the intention was for the celebration of Nowruz,
عبادت 50 سالش برباد می شود. باشد تحفه بدهد و نیت آن
I don't know exactly what if you do what for Nowruz, but if you do the specific thing for Nowruz, he's saying that 50 years worth of your worship would be wiped out. So I don't know what practice. It sounds like gift giving or something like that. If you do something for Nowruz, like just by that one simple act, 50 years of your worship has been canceled. 50 years by one act.
تعظیم نوروز باشد، عبادت 50 سالش برباد می شود. سبحان الله.
People are saying Allah Akbar and Subhanallah. Like, yes.
یک تبریکی.
Oh, if you say tabrik, if you congratulate a person, one congratulations for Nowruz.
نوروز تبریکی بگه، عبادت 50 ساله.
Oh, another 50 years. So if you just go to somebody and just say Happy Nowruz, just by the utterance of one time, he just makes it very clear, but just one time congratulations, 50 years of your worship is gone. So you just go like, hey, Happy Nowruz. 50 years of worship is wiped from your record. So then it's like, God damn, better go kiss the black stone. Yeah. Secular Proton is saying, do people get 13 days off for Nowruz in Iran? Yeah, you get 2 weeks off.
برباد میشه و همچنین کفر هم کو به تعقیبش که عبادت 50 سال برباد شد، بعد میفرماین کافر میشود.
I think if I'm understanding him correctly, because he's speaking with an accent, I think he's also saying that if you continue, then you would also become a kafir.
عبادت 50 سال برباد شد.
After you lost 50 years of worship, if you continue doing that, I think he's saying you become a kafir.
میفرماین کافر میشود.
Oh yeah, you become a kafir. So you can say, so basically if you keep insisting, I think if that's what he's saying, if you keep insisting and saying Happy Nowruz or like doing Nowruz stuff, you're a kafir.
اگر کسی در روز نوروز لباس نو بپوشد،
if you wear a new clothing at Nowruz,
اگر کسی در روز نوروز لباس خود را تغییر داد،
okay, so he's telling you the things that you shouldn't be doing in Nowruz. If you buy new clothes for Nowruz, or if you just don't buy new clothes but change the clothes that you already have for the sake of Nowruz.
و خوراک خود تغییر داد،
if you change what you eat because of Nowruz,
و همچنین تبریکی گفته،
if you congratulate anybody because of Nowruz,
و به دید و بازدید به تعظیم روز نوروز رفت،
or if you go and see other people, like if you go have guests or become guests of other people because of Nowruz,
مثل که روزهای عید ما و شامیر مخانی هم دیگر،
just like we go on Eid, like he's talking about Islamic Eids, we go and see each other on Eids, like he's like if they do that for Nowruz just like we do it for Islamic Eids.
اگر روز نوروز رفته و همچنین خلاصه چیزی را که دیگر روزها از
but in summary, he's saying in summary, if he does anything on Nowruz that he wouldn't have done on other days,
بازار نمی خرید و در روز
or he buys things that he wouldn't have bought on non-Nowruz days,
نوروز خریداری کرده، او انسان بیم کفر می رود.
that man, that person has gone to kufr, has gone to the religion of non-religion. I guess he's going to the religion of the non-believers, which doesn't make any sense, but that's what he's saying.
و نزدیک به کفر می شود.
And he's getting closer to kufr. He's getting close to non-belief.
سروران عزیز و بزرگوار،
And people are like, yes, like the audience loves this level of aggression. Yeah.
در ایران هم همچنان آخوندها از جشن و رقص و پایکوبی مردم در نوروز شکایت دارند.
Now the narrator is saying in Iran, the mullahs are still constantly complaining about the fact that people are celebrating Nowruz.
احمد خاتمی خطیب جمعه
Okay, so this guy is very funny. This guy is very frustrated for why we still have Nowruz in Iran.
تهران از اینکه جلال و جروز شکایت دارند. احمد خاتمی خطیب جمعه تهران از اینکه
So this is Ahmad Khatami, who is like not the Khatami that used to be president. This is a different Khatami. And he's the
در
Imam Jum'ah Tehran, which is like the Imam of the Friday prayers of Tehran.
نوروز شکایت دارند. احمد خاتمی خطیب جمعه تهران از اینکه جلال و جبروت نوروز نهادهای دولتی را هم مجبور به برگزاری مراسم می‌کند می‌نالد.
So this man is complaining about why is Nowruz so powerful that even the government has to do things. So basically, when I was in Iran, every Nowruz, the government will do certain things for Nowruz, right? Like they will change decorations in the street. They would have banners. Stores will have their change the decorations. The TV, which is like Iranian government propaganda, they will have like songs for Nowruz, right? But apparently, like everything will become Nowruz. Like it was so like everywhere that when I was in Iran, I didn't even know that the mullahs don't like Nowruz because it was everywhere, right? And it was even coming from government officials. It was on government TV, everywhere. Everything was like about during Nowruz. Everything becomes about Nowruz, right? I didn't know that behind the scenes there was this challenge. There was this attempt of reducing this, right? And mullahs found it very insulting how the Islamic Republic of Iran was endorsing Nowruz all these years. And apparently this year you see less decorations, like the mullahs are winning this battle, right? Like the governments are like, they're not decorating the streets like they used to, and there's like less celebration, and people are like this year, for example, there was something Islamic that was happened to coincide with Eid, and government officials were celebrating that apparently more than the Eid and Nowruz. So they are winning, but the fact some of these mullahs can't take the fact, are very insulted by the fact that there is any recognition of Nowruz by the Islamic Republic of Iran. So this is Ahmad Khatami, Imam Jum'ah Mawaqat Tehran, which is like a temporary. He's like the temp imam of the Friday prayers in Tehran. So let's see what he has to say.
به چه ملاکی بعضی‌ها جشن‌های نوروزی همراه با غفلت از خدا.
He's saying, for what reason do we have celebrations of Nowruz, which is ignorance from God? Basically saying like this is you're ignoring God. Basically, why are we ignoring God? Like why the celebrations of Nowruz, which is ignoring God?
از بیت المال مردم خرج میکنن.
He's like, why are such celebrations being funded by the government's, by tax money, from people's money, from tax? Like, why is the government spending money on such celebrations?
جشن‌هایی که فریاد همه مراجع بلنده.
Like he's saying these are celebrations that every marja, all the marjas, the maraja, which is plural for marja, like every single, he's saying all the Shia holy, like what is marja? Icons. All the main figures in Shia Islam are against the celebrations of Nowruz. It's like why? And yet in the Islamic Republic of Iran, taxpayer money is spent on celebrating Nowruz. Like he's like, I can't understand how we allow this to happen.
یکی از مراجع میگه پس چرا علما فریاد نمیزنن
and he's saying some of the marjas are saying, why are the mullahs not fighting this? Why are the mullahs silent? Why are the mullahs not shouting, taking a stronger position against this? Like, we should be like, he's appealing to the mullahs and saying, like, the Islamic scholars and the mullahs and all the religious authorities, that we're not fighting this hard enough.
کنید این کارها رو.
Like, we shouldn't be doing this.
خرج بیت المال
Especially because it's coming from the tax money.
که توش لهو هست توش
Like, we're using taxpayer for celebration that has like degeneracy,
لعب هست توش بد حجابی هست
that it has like lack of proper hijab.
شرعاً حرام بینه.
It's fundamentally haram. It's fundamentally sinful.
به خصوص در وضعیتی که گرونی ها رو میبینیم چه خبره.
And like, especially now that we're saying how everything is expensive in Iran, and with the sake of inflation and everything, it's like, why are we spending money on this when we don't have enough money?
میبینیم وضعیت مردم ما چه مشکلات اقتصادی دارن.
And you see our people are suffering financially. Well, they're suffering financially because of you guys. Oh my God.
2500 جشن نوروز با چه انگیزه؟
He's like, they have 2,500 different celebrations of Nowruz are being taken place, but with what motivation? Like, he's saying at such economic conditions, we shouldn't be celebrating Nowruz. Yeah, so Susanna is explaining it better. Susanna is saying Marja is basically a Shia scholar that you follow and emulate. Exactly. That's what the Marja is. Oh, Ezra Ipur. So Ezra Ipur, which is another very famous Islamic speaker.
هم تلاش میکنن در حذف آیین‌های.
So these are people who are not mullahs themselves, but they try to, these are people who wear suits, but try to gain their own audience. I won't go into the details. This is a different sect of Islamic speakers.
های کهن نقش خود را ایفا کنند تا به خیال خود تسلط گفتمان حاکم را کامل کرده باشند تا چیزی از گذشته.
All right, this guy's Raifi's poor speech is not very interesting here. He just basically says, why are you guys are idiots who think Nowruz is very significant? It's just going from winter to spring. Why is that so significant? You girls are like sheep. Okay, so that's what he says. But I want to go to
با هم می‌جنگند. هویت که آنها
Okay, so this is another mullah saying basically the same thing. I just want to go to this last part.
نشگر زندگی را می‌پسند به فرهنگ بشر مانند فقه آنه را تئون به حیات بوتی.
Okay, I want to go to here. Okay. So this video, I wish you guys, the people who have audio, you're gonna miss out on this because this little girl is so adorable. Okay, so I'm gonna describe it for people who don't have the visuals. Okay, there's an adorable little girl wearing very, very, very traditional Iranian costumes. Like, this is like not Islam by traditional. I don't mean Islamically traditional. I mean like I don't know what culture, like Iranian culture, okay? And like, she's holding, I think, a hafiz in her hand, right? And she's sitting in front of a hafsin, the Nowruz decoration. And let's listen to what she has to say. Let me see. Oh, Secular Republic is saying, yeah. Okay, no, Susanna, there's another video. I will get to that as well. There's another video. I'm going to show two things. So Susanna is asking, what about Biden's Nowruz? Like, why am I not showing Biden's Nowruz? I will get to Biden's Nowruz celebration as well. Well, that's in another video. This video is going to end. I'll switch to that right away. Okay, but let's see what this little girl has to say. So by the way, guys, this what I'm looking at is like so adorable because she's wearing very, very, very traditional Persian stuff right next to the hafsin. And she's going to tell us something. It's so adorable. I wish you could see this. Okay. But hold on. Let's see what she has to say.
نوروز 2581 پیروز.
Okay, so one thing is very interesting is that we have apparently 3 calendars. We have the Arabic. Okay, so we have the Islamic calendar, right? Which religious people use. And then we have the Persian calendar, which now would be the year 1401, but there's also another calendar which like uber nationalists use and I think the birth of Cyrus or something was the start of that. And the days are the same from the other Persian calendar, but by that year by that calendar we're at year 2000 something, right? 2000, I don't know what she said. Hold on.
2581
2581. Okay, so if you use that calendar, you're one of the uber nationalist, people. Okay, because not that many people use that calendar. Okay, so she is saying the Nowruz of year 2581, Mubarak, or like happy Eid 2581, which shows that I think her family, like, look, you have like very Persian Achaemenid decorations behind her. You could tell that this is a very, very, she's been made to do this by a very traditional Persian nationalist family. Okay, so she's saying happy Nowruz, and then let's see how it continues.
پیروز من پیام دارم ما ایران رو پس میگیریم.
Okay, so she's saying my message is that we will take back Iran. Okay, and when she says take back Iran, she means we will take it back from the mullahs.
سیاوش منم نه از پریزادگان از
Okay, I don't know what she's saying because she's talking in that baby language where some words are hard to understand. Like she's talking baby like talk. I don't know, like
سیاوش من
she's saying I am Siavesh, which is one of the Iranian heroes. So she's saying I'm Siavesh.
نه از پریزادگان
I'm not one of those. I don't know what those other people are that she's not. I hope it's not something anti-Arab racist.
ایرانم از شهر آزادگان که ایران بهشت است یا
Like Iran is paradise.
بوستان همین بوی مشکایت از این بوستان
Okay, she's talking baby talk. I can't tell what she's saying.
سپندارم است پاسبان تو باد ز خرداد روشن روان تو باد ندانی که ایران نشست من است جهان سر
She's declaring that we're going to take back with this. Iran is ours and this is ours and we're going to take it, something like that.
زیر دست
This is poetry. Okay, she's reading. She memorized the poetry. She's reading it.
من است هنر نزد ایرانیان
Oh, so she's saying art belongs to the Iranians.
است و بس ندارند شیر جان روی است همه سر به سر تن کشتن نهیم از آن به که کشور به دشمن نهیم.
Okay, I think she just went absolutely brutal. She just said like she declared that we're gonna. I think she just declared that we will. I don't know. I don't know if I could say it on YouTube, but I think she went very aggressive at the very end. She was talking about killing enemies and stuff.
سر تن کشتن نهیم
I don't know, beheadings.
هنر نزد ایرانیان
Okay, I think she went just like I know she looks very adorable and cute, but I think she at the very end she went very aggressively declared like I think she wants to do like genocide on mullahs. I don't know what she's saying. I don't endorse what she's saying if she's saying that, but
است و بس ندارند شیر جان روی است همه سر به سر تن کشتن نهیم
okay, yeah, there's something about we will all kill somebody.
از آن به که کشور به دشمن نهیم.
Oh, okay. No, I get it. I think I got it. Okay. She said we would rather give to death and losing our heads rather than giving our country to our enemies. Okay. Okay. So I think it was not about killing other people. It was about us rather dying and losing our heads over giving up our country to our enemies. So basically, she's using a poetry as a way to declare that we will maintain aid, we will keep the Nowruz, and this is our country, and we would rather die than giving up the country to other people. Again, also celebrating Iranians and Iranian people. Just to let you know that a lot of these, a lot of these nationalist families and stuff, they don't consider mullahs to be Iranians as well because they are like a fifth column kind of situation. They see like because they don't speak. I mean, there's a lot of racism involved here as well. Right, because it seems like they celebrate Arabic things rather than Persian things, that, according to them, right? And they think like, well, you have ever since the Arab invasion of Iran, They think like if you take the religion of the Arabs, which is Islam, and if you speak like them, and if you prefer Arab things over Persian things, then you're not Iranian anymore. So we could speak of you as if you are foreigners, right? Again, I don't endorse any of this. This is like collectivism mindset. I'm not saying that she was saying that, but to me, it comes across a lot of it like that. Like when so I mean, for example, I'm against the mullahs. I don't care if they're Arab or not Arab. Like they just have bad ideas, right? Like a lot of Arabs have really good ideas, and the mullahs are Iranians because they have Iranian citizenship, and I don't care what languages they speak in and what traditions they want to celebrate. Their ideas are bad and harmful, and that's why I'm against them. I don't see this as this war between Arabs and Persians. Like that's like I don't know, that's mental. Yeah, that's collectivism. Like I don't like that, right? But that how a lot of this comes back as a battle between the Arab identity, which a lot of Iranian nationalists see Islam as an Arab identity versus what they see as Nowruz as a Persian identity. Okay, and I know I don't like that because I think Nowruz is like belongs to the Kurds and many other Iranians as well, and many other non-Iranians like Afghanis and Tajiks and everybody. People from other countries, like I don't know, I think in Azerbaijan they also, the country Azerbaijan, I think they celebrate Nowruz, I'm not sure. So but the battle between mullahs and Iranian people over Nowruz, some people want to portray that as a battle between an Arab culture and a Persian culture, and I don't think we should do that. I see that because that's more that causes more harm than good. I see that as a battle because Arabs themselves are not like, they themselves have so many beautiful celebrations. Like they're not, just because the Shia festives are very dark and gloomy, that doesn't represent Arab culture, that represents Shia culture, right? I mean, Arabs know how to party. Okay, Arabs, like many Arabs know how to party. Like I don't know what you're talking about, right? So I think this should, instead of doing that, you should just be talking about people who are anti-happiness, regardless of them being Arab, Persian, Turk, or Kurd, or in people who are for happiness, for improving people's like pleasure and festivity and excuses to be happy and celebrate things. It doesn't matter what race you are, and it doesn't matter what nationality you are, right? So we should be careful not to turn this battle over, to essentialize it over people's ethnicities or nationalities, right? Oh yeah, secular proton is saying Georgia as well. Yeah, Georgia celebrates Nowruz as well. I didn't know that. Yeah, so yeah, these are, so I don't know if this is really adorable, okay, but I don't know if I like this. This is her being used by her parents to make a statement. That's what's happening here, okay? But it is adorable, okay? So let me actually bring you the next video. Okay, so I wanted to show you something that is very interesting. This is kind of funny. Well, the two last things I want to show you, and then we could end this. So this is so this was a very shocking video for a lot of people. So we have two things that people still get shocked by, right? We have a lot of Iranians who don't wear traditionally religious costumes or religious outfits, or like hijab, or like and they seem to be supporting the Islamic Republic. But we also have the other way around as well, right? So again, like I told you many times before, for many times we simplified. It was this simple. In Iran, it seemed to be two main sources of ideas. You had the nationalist, pro-Persian culture, anti-Islam, or at least anti-Mullah Iranians on one side, and then you had more religious, pro-Islamic Republic Iranians on the other side, and some people who, and then a lot of gray area where religious people just celebrated Nowruz and went to Takht Jamshid or went to Persepolis, and a whole bunch of nationalist people who still, like, I don't know, would celebrate some Islamic Eids as well. So it's not like completely like black and white, right? There's also some gray area in the middle, but that gray area in the middle has grown significantly, and still some people get shocked by it. They still get shocked when you see a woman who is completely looks like she's very liberal. She has her hair out. She's wearing like tight jeans and like a crop top and everything. And she's like supported, like she's like loves Qasem Soleimani. People like even some Iranians are still shocked to see that, right? But from the other side, we also have a lot of women who are completely chadari, or like men who are like very religious, or women who are very chadari is like a very conservative way of hijab, right? Who are now very aggressively against the Islamic Republic, and very religious Shia people in Iran who are like, we want a secular government. Even though I'm religious, I don't want religion in government. I want secularism, and I wear the hijab, but I don't want mandatory hijab. So we're seeing the gray area becoming more and more pronounced. Okay, so what I'm about to show you again, this is like Nowruz. This is like another sign of that, and this like went viral on Iranian social media because people were shocked to see it, right? So what you're about to see is a chadari woman dancing in a way that you would never expect a chadari woman to dance for people celebrating Nowruz in the streets.
با خشونت جمع را پراکنده می‌شدی چندان هم دور از انتظار.
So, by the way, this is a lot of people think this is racist. In Nowruz, you have a lot of people in Iran who wear blackface, which is supposed to be like a slave person apparently. But a dancing blackface person, you usually have that in Iranian celebrations, right? Some people say it's racist. Some people say no, you don't understand. This is not about racism. Anyways, I think it's racist, but this, so that person is dancing, and now we have a chadari woman right next to her dancing as well. Like a woman dancing by its own in the streets of Iran is very interesting and bizarre, and by itself is like pretty ballsy for a woman to just dance in the street, like, because that's illegal. But for a chadari woman to dance like this, like, I mean, look at the dance. Look at that. Like, she knows what she's doing. Okay, listen to this. The video, I'm telling you, this is shocking, and I wasn't wrong, okay? Because the woman who's recording the video, the person that is holding the camera, the phone, recording this, she just screamed out and saying, I can't believe what I'm saying. So she can't believe watching a chadari woman dance like this in the streets. Look at it. And another lady just said, like, praise to her, like they're celebrating the chadari woman dancing like that. Look at it. Like oh my God, somebody else is saying, are you sure it's a woman? Like, they can't believe it's a woman that is dancing. Like, maybe it's a man wearing a chador. And somebody else is saying, no, she's a woman. Look at her shoes. Look at her leg. Like, look, the people can't believe it's a woman. The people in Iran, so it's not just me. The people in Iran can't believe it's a woman is dancing like this in the street. A chadori woman, not a woman. A chadori woman is dancing like that in the street. Oh yeah, the other woman saying, maybe it's a man. Or like, no, it's not a man. Look at her shoes. Look at her feet. This is dancing. Okay, so now the police showed up. Like, they're like, the woman dancing. This is the morality police, the anti-phone police just showed up, and she's like, you got to cut this out. Like, no, we can't do this. Get out of here. You see, this is how you see morality police. Like, get out of here. So they canceled. People were like booing. People were like, boo, boo. So the police the anti-phone police always shows up. Okay, so here's another thing. For example, this year, look at this. I don't know if it's going to show it to you here, but this is Nowruz, and every year in Nowruz you had signs celebrating Nowruz in the streets, but people are recording and showing, like, this year Nowruz, you don't see signs of Nowruz by the government. You see Islamic symbols. Ya Zainab al-Kabra, like they're saying this is like Muhammad's daughter is being celebrated here, right? So people are like, look, this Nowruz, not only didn't bother to put Nowruz signs, the government not only, unlike other years, didn't bother to do that, they actually put as more celebrations of Islamic symbols. So people are complaining about what the hell this is.
امسال به تلاش حکومت برای کمرنگ جلوه دادن نوروز در برابر اعیاد مذهبی توجه کردند.
Like, people noticed that this year they went out of their way to put more Islamic symbols in the streets.
امروز 26 اسفند 1400 تقریبا 4 روز دیگه تا عید
So this driver is saying this is like we are getting close to Nowruz.
نوروز داریم. ببین شهرداری یا اصلا کلا زیباسازی شهر چه اقدامی رو برای
But look, this year the mayor's office, look, they haven't done anything for Nowruz. Like he's recording the streets and showing that nothing had happened this year.
عید نوروز انجام داده هیچی. شما نه
Look,
بنری میبینید نه
like
لامپی
no
میبینید نه
banners,
چیزی.
no.
فقط
He's like no lights. Like every year they had lights, they had banners, but look, he's saying like, look, this year there's no banners, no lights, no nothing.
یه پرچم‌ها دیدم دارن نصب میکنن که اونم برای شعبانی.
Like here's other people. So different people are recording their experience in the streets of Iran, showing like this year there's nothing. I think that was Tehran. I think this is Mashhad.
تمام شهر شده از این
Yes, Mashhad.
اماما و
Like look, the entire city has become about imams.
وقتی فرماندار و استاندار و شهردار و همه رو سپاهی میذاری
Like this is the driver is saying this is what happens when you make the mayor, the governor, and everybody else. You make them all from the IRGC. This is what happens.
yes.
So basically, this is confirming that this is an IRGC take. So IRGC, right, was supposed to just be IRGC. It was supposed to just be one of the two main armed forces of Iran, right? But they have creeped out of the being the military to everything else, right? So the IRGC in the past couple of years is having a major takeover of everything in Iran, right? So they used to be just a military, one of the two military branches, but now they're like part of the main, like they're taking over all the mayor offices, all the governor offices, everything in government is becoming former IRGC members. So it will eventually become like the entire Iran's government will become IRGC.
تبدیل میشه به
And he's saying this is the result.
هیئت خونه
Like the entire city will become into like a religious building, religious place.
قرن یک
Like this is the 21st century and this is what we have to deal with. Like this is the 21st century. Like he's frustrated that we're still having to deal with stuff like this.
وقتی در یک شهر مذهبی مانند
All right, so one last thing I want to show you, the thing that that Susanna mentioned about Biden. So this year, this is the most interesting part. I saved it for last, okay? So this year, everybody noticed that not only the supreme leader, Ikisi Khamenei, not only he didn't have a half scene,
رهبر
right?
جمهوری اسلامی
But Raisi also had like 1/7 of a half scene, right? So from all the 7 scenes, all the 7 S's, there's only one of them, right? So they're trying to slowly reduce the entirety of the half scene from what the president is showing as well. So people noticed like, wow, this year they really went out of their way to not have that. But they also noticed that Biden had the full half scene, and like right. So this is very interesting. People like on Iranian Twitter and everywhere else on social media, people were like comparing this. So like maybe Biden is more of a representative of the Iranian people than our own so-called leaders, right? Look at this. Some music guy saying, was Biden trolling? No, I mean this is part of. No, they do this and for other festives as well. Like the White House has like congratulates Jewish people for their holidays. They congratulate Muslims for their holidays. And this year, Biden went just all out. Look at this. Like, this is a beautiful half scene. They went all out to congratulate Iranians for their Nowruz. I mean, Iranians and everyone else, and Azerbaijan and Tajik. I have to remember that, and Tajikistan, Afghanistan, right? But like, look, it's beautiful. So like Iranian people are like, yeah, Biden is more our leader than our actual leaders. Like, this is more in line with what Iranian people want, because like, look at this. I've said, like, they couldn't even do this. They couldn't even do what Biden did for Iranian people on Nowruz. They saying like they couldn't. Look at here. Compare this to this to just one, and the other one is a Quran. So this is a Quran. This is a Sabzi. But look at what Biden has. Look at this. The whole half scene. He has the sirke. He has the apple. He has the garlic. He has the coins. Yeah, everything. And the Gol Sambolam as well. He has the flower. These are the flowers. Specifically the flowers that bloom during Nowruz. He has it as well. This is so cute. And Yasaman and the candle and the mirror, and no Quran. There's no Quran. I wonder what book. Did they have any book? Because you're supposed to put one book. Yeah, this is so cute. I like that I have seen. But anyways, it was like this comparison. People went crazy over this, over comparing these two. Let me see if there's any. One last thing I want to show you. No, Ruzi, by then. So one last thing I want to show you about how sensitive people are becoming more and more about Nowruz.
در کاخ سفید دیدند. جو بایدن
So the narrator is saying what people expected to see from the leaders, they saw it in the White House.
و همسرش در کنار سفره 7 سین زیبا نوروز را به مردم ایران و مردم حوزه فرهنگی نوروز تبریک گفتند.
So not just to Iranian people, but to all the people who celebrate Nowruz.
نوروز را به مردم ایران و مردم حوزه فرهنگی نوروز تبریک گفتند. در تهران اما در مجتمع
All right, so this is the last thing I'm going to show you. So this is in Tehran. There's a mall that in the center of the mall, they wanted to celebrate Nowruz like in a very, very festive way. They go aggressively Nowruz, right? So they have a mock-up of Cyrus's tomb, a giant mock-up of Cyrus's tomb right in the middle of the mall, and with all the decorations of Hafsin all around it.
تجاری ارگ به سرعت با دستور
you have also like statues of Achaemenid or Hachameneshi kings all around the tomb.
بالادستی‌ها جمع‌آوری شد.
So look, somebody is recording this on their phone. They're like, "Oh my God, this looks so pretty." Hold on. This is a Hafsin sofre, but with like a tomb in the middle of it, a giant mock-up of a tomb.
این هفسین درسته میدونی؟
So the lady who's recording is like, this is how you do Hafsin. She's like, this is the right way to do the Hafsin. Like, look at this. Oh, look, and also there's a sign here, a giant sign saying 1401, which is the year, the current year.
شاه شاهانو گذاشته.
Look, they put the king of the kings. By king of the kings, they mean Cyrus the Great.
کوروش کبیر رو گذاشته.
They put the great Cyrus here.
خدا.
Look at this.
بهترین گذاشته به خدا. بهترین.
You're like, this is the best Hafsin I've ever seen.
هفسین اینه. واقعا.
Look at this. Wait.
بهترین.
This is the best Hafsin I've ever seen.
هفسین اینه. واقعا.
Look at all this.
اصل ایرانو گذاشته.
Like the essence, she's saying they put the essence of Iran here.
آفرین.
Like, good job.
اینا رو چطور خراب نکردن نیومدن به اینو دعوا کنن من نمیدونم.
So pay attention to this. The lady is saying, I don't know how they haven't yet, how nobody has destroyed this, how like the officials haven't come and removed this. Like she's like surprised about how this was allowed.
خب معلومه میتا هستی جمعتون کنم.
Like she's saying, well, maybe we don't know. Maybe by the afternoon they will remove it. She's laughing. Like maybe they will come and remove it.
میگم هفسین درست اینه.
Like people are really loving it. It's in the middle of the mall. Look at that. It's huge. And now this is later in the afternoon. Her prediction came true. They removed it. The officials showed up and they removed it.
روز 26 اسفند 1400 ما اومدیم پاساژ
Like somebody else is recording like, okay, we heard about this amazing Hafsin, so we came to see it, but unfortunately by the time we arrived, they had removed it.
تجریش برای دیدن
Oh, so this is Tajrish. Oh, wow.
هفسین با دکور
So she said,
کوروش کبیر، کوروش بزرگ
there was a Hafsin with the great Cyrus. We came here to see it.
مجسمه‌های پادشاهی هخامنشی، ولی متاسفانه دیدم که همه رو جمع کردن و 4 تا عروسک ببر برش دادن.
Like they removed the giant tomb and they replaced it with a few teddy bears. So they're like, you can't have a Cyrus tomb here. Here's some teddy bears for decoration.
خواستم بگم که اینا حتی از ماکت پادشاه ها هم ترس دارن.
So this is a woman who like celebrates the kings, the ancient kings of Iran, and she's saying like, look, these people, and by these people she's saying the mullahs, right? These people are even afraid of a mock-up of our kings' tombs. Like, so basically she indirectly saying our kings are so powerful. I mean, I don't endorse this message because I don't like monarchies as well, right? But a lot of people who are anti the Islamic Republic, they celebrate what was before it, which is the monarchy, right? But she's saying like, look, how powerful our customs or our kings were, that they're so terrified, or even a mock-up version of their king, of their tomb.
به امید آزادی ایران.
And she ended it by saying, wishing Iran freedom one day, right? So like, we wish Iran freedom at one point. So that was what I think that she said. All right, so there's a lot more to show, but I want to end it here. But I want to just address some things that you're saying in the live chat. Susanna is saying, Anna said that was significant about, but what was significant about Biden's Nowruz was that he didn't talk about Iranians or their struggle, just wishing a happy Nowruz, maybe because of Vienna talks. I mean, I think a lot of people are being extremely picky because the White House does that about, I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's because of the Vienna talks. The Iranian struggle. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't do that. They're right now, the White House is really stuck between a rock and a hard place. It's really, they have to be extremely careful. It's a huge mess. We could address that during the Q&A, but I didn't know that they didn't address the struggle. Yeah, maybe because of Susanna, I think you have a good guess. It might be because of the Vienna talks. Secular Protestant saying, what's half seen? So I explained at the beginning, half seen is like, half scenes mean 7 S's, 7S, which is the 7 decorations that you put for Nowruz. Each one of them something that starts with the sound S, like se, right? Like seke, sir, sabzi, like stuff like that, right? They all start with S. So half means like 7. Sin is a letter of the alphabet in Persian language, which is the same as S in English, right? So it means 7 S's. Also, let me see. Susanna is saying, what is that Zoroastrian holiday that's before Nowruz that people were celebrating in the street this year? I think there was fire and fireworks. Yeah. So we have Charshanbe Suri and Sizde Bedar. Charshanbe Suri is I think the last Wednesday of the year, which is the Wednesday before Nowruz, and people usually jump on fires, and that's very Zoroastrian, right? And they have fireworks, and you also have, so there's 3 things that I associate with Charshanbe Suri. One of them is jumping on fire, and dance and music, but the other one is fireworks, and also you show up at people's doors and ask for snacks, kind of like Halloween. So they just like in Halloween where people show up at a door and they ask for candy, Charshanbe Suri, we do that. They do that as well. We did that as well. I did that as a kid. And then we have the Nowruz itself, and then 2 weeks worth of celebrations after the Nowruz, and then you have Sizde Bedar, which is 13 days after Nowruz, so you're supposed to leave the city somewhere. You're supposed to go on a picnic somewhere outside of the city. And you're supposed to take that green stuff, that's the grass that you had at your Hafsin, and you're supposed to throw it in a lake or in a river or in a lake or somewhere into the wild. Secular Proton is saying, really enjoyed the stream, didn't know about Nowruz before the stream, found out it's also celebrated in some places in Pakistan, my home country. Oh, that's good. I didn't know that. Well, I learned something from you right now. All right, Susanna is saying, I love the stream, so much fun. I love all of the colors. Oh, thank you. Oh, yeah, and guys, this is a good segue to the last thing I want to say. Susanna is saying, I love the colors. Well, guess what? If you were not a patron, then you missed all the things that I showed you, right? So you heard all the explanations, but all of this would have been a lot better if you actually saw everything I showed you. So please, the video version of the stream is only exclusively available to our patrons and YouTube members. So if you want to, the easiest way to get it is to be a patron, right? So link to our Patreon is in the description. Link to the video version of this audio is in the description, which takes you to Patreon. So please consider becoming a patron if you can and support the show, and also be here with us. As a patron, you could also be here live with us and talk to us in the live chat. So yeah. All right. So thank you for your support. And if you're not a patron and you're listening to the audio version of this, please like the video, or if you're listening to this on a podcast, please rate the podcast 5 stars or whatever you think is good, and share and recommend this show, Secular Jihadists, to as many people as possible. Like I'm trying to cover things that you don't get other places, like unique things that people are interested in, but you wouldn't find in English media anywhere else. Anyways, guys, thank you for your support, and talk to you later. Bye.